As North Korea escalates its nuclear ambitions, a newly elected U.S. president faces a global crisis, navigating a treacherous path between diplomacy and confrontation to prevent a devastating war. The glow of monitors illuminates the anxious faces of President Ellis, 50s, sharp, determined, and her top advisors. On the main screen, a live broadcast from Pyongyang shows Kim Jong Un, 30s, stern, defiant, addressing a massive military parade. News anchor. And in a shocking development from Pyongyang, Kim Jong Un has just announced an unprecedented expansion of North Korea's nuclear arsenal, vowing eternal confrontation against the United States. President Ellis's jaw tightens. She exchanges a worried glance with General Henderson, 60s, seasoned, weary. President Ellis. Eternal confrontation? He's certainly not pulling any punches. General, what's our immediate assessment? General Henderson. Madam President, our intelligence suggests this isn't just rhetoric. We're seeing increased activity at their testing sites. This could be a significant leap in their capabilities. Ambassador Chen. The international community is already in an uproar. China and Russia are calling for emergency talks, but their condemnations are muted. President Ellis. Muted is an understatement. This isn't just about us anymore. This is a direct challenge to global stability. We need a strategy, and we need it yesterday. She gestures to her Chief of Staff, Anna Reid. President Ellis. Anna, clear my schedule. I want a full briefing on every possible response from sanctions to military options. And get me on the phone with the UN Secretary General, then our allies in Seoul and Tokyo. This is going to be a long night. Anna nods, already on her tablet. The weight of the world seems to settle on President Ellis's shoulders. Japanese reporters furiously type on keyboards, a banner headline blaring, "North Korea threatens region." Shoppers stop, watching a news report on a large outdoor screen with grim expressions. A hawker slowly lowers his megaphone, his usual cheer gone. Diplomats from various nations engage in heated, hushed conversations. The Chinese and Russian ambassadors are seen conferring, looking serious. Moscow, Kremlin office. President Volkov watches the news with a detached expression, a map of the Korean peninsula on a screen behind him. Beijing, Foreign Ministry. Minister Lee delivers a press conference, calling for calm and de-escalation while avoiding direct criticism of Pyongyang. President Park. Madam President, my people are terrified. We are within range of everything they possess. This eternal confrontation rhetoric, it's designed to destabilize us. President Ellis. I understand, President Park. We are fully committed to your security. We are exploring every avenue, diplomatic and otherwise. Have your intelligence services picked up anything new? President Park. Only confirmation of increased activity. And propaganda, of course. They're broadcasting images of their new missiles, claiming invincibility. It's a psychological war as much as anything else. President Ellis. We won't let them win it. We're convening an emergency session with our P5+1 partners. We need a unified front. Stay strong, President Park. President Ellis ends the call, pinching the bridge of her nose. Anna Reid. Secretary General is on the line, Madam President, and General Henderson has an update on our readiness posture. Ellis sighs, steeling herself for the next conversation. The global chessboard is in play, and every move is critical. President Ellis. And so, the United States is proposing a new round of stringent sanctions, targeting North Korea's access to refined petroleum, luxury goods, and any financial institutions aiding their WMD program. This is a clear message. Their aggression will not be tolerated. Ambassador Ling slowly adjusts his glasses. Ambassador Ling. Madam President, China shares your concern for regional stability. However, we believe further sanctions, particularly those impacting the civilian population, will only escalate tensions. We must prioritize dialogue. A starving nation is a desperate nation. Ambassador Ivanov, nodding in agreement. Indeed, Russia believes a return to multilateral talks, perhaps a six-party framework, is the only viable path. Punitive measures have historically proven ineffective and counterproductive. Ambassador Chen. With respect, ambassadors, North Korea has repeatedly used dialogue as a delaying tactic while advancing their weapons programs. Analyst 1. Calling out. Commander, we're seeing a significant uptick in North Korean IP addresses attempting to penetrate South Korean financial networks. Not just phishing, but direct infiltration attempts. Ava Sharma, without looking away. Are they after data or looking to disrupt? Analyst 2. It's hard to tell, Commander. They're probing, looking for vulnerabilities. It's more aggressive than their usual MO. Suddenly, a red alert flashes across Ava's screen. Ava Sharma, speak of the devil. They've just launched a coordinated DDoS attack against a major South Korean banking institution. It's massive. Her fingers fly across her keyboard. Ava Sharma continued. All right, team, defensive protocols initiated. Route traffic through our firewalls. Mitigate the bandwidth flood. I want to know who's behind this and where they're coming from. Trace it back. The room erupts into a flurry of activity, keyboards clacking, voices calling out commands. Analyst 1. They're using a sophisticated botnet, Commander. Worldwide distributed. Hard to pinpoint the origin. Ava Sharma. It's their signature, isn't it? Lazarus Group, or a variant. They're testing our resolve, seeing how much chaos they can sow. Don't let them. Divert, deflect, and contain. And send an immediate alert to President Ellis and the Pentagon. This isn't just a cyber attack, it's a message. Ava zooms in on a section of code, her eyes narrowing. The digital battlefield is heating up, adding another layer of complexity to the already volatile situation. Dr. Park, are we safe? They're watching everywhere. Agent Sarah, we're safe for now, Doctor, but we don't have much time. What do you have for us? Dr. Park fumbles with a small encrypted USB drive, his hands shaking. Dr. Park, information. Details on their new missile guidance systems. They're more advanced than anyone realizes. And something else. Agent Sarah, what? Dr. Park, there's a faction within the military. They're not all behind Kim's eternal confrontation. Some see the madness in it, but they're terrified. Agent Sarah, can we reach them? Can we support them? Dr. Park, it's a suicide mission, but if we don't, the world is at risk. Kim is isolated, surrounded by yes-men. He's lost touch with reality. Suddenly, a faint sound of a distant engine reaches them. Sarah's hand goes to her concealed weapon. Agent Sarah, we have to go, now! She grabs the USB drive and leads Dr. Park toward a waiting boat. The shadows swallow them as the sedan speeds away. The silent infiltration has begun, but the stakes are higher than ever. General Henderson. And based on the intelligence from Dr. Park's data, we believe this site is where they're conducting their advanced solid-fuel missile tests. It's a newer facility, deep underground, designed to evade detection. President Ellis. So they're not just expanding, they're improving. Faster deployment, harder to track. What's our response capability? General Henderson. Madam President, we've developed a limited, targeted cyber-kinetic option. It involves a precision strike on their command and control infrastructure linked to this specific test site, coupled with a sophisticated cyber attack designed to corrupt their guidance systems during a test. It would render a launch inoperable without causing any kinetic damage to the missile itself or civilian areas. A ripple of unease goes through the room. President Ellis. A cyber-kinetic strike. That's a direct act of interference. What's the risk of miscalculation? Of them perceiving it as an attack on their entire program or even their leadership? General Henderson. It's a calculated risk, Madam President. Our intelligence suggests this would be seen as a strong deterrent, a message that we can cripple their capabilities without resorting to full-scale military action. The goal is to demonstrate our reach, not to provoke. Anna Reid. And the political fallout? China and Russia will scream. Our allies will be nervous. President Ellis. Nervous, yes. But they're also terrified of a nuclear North Korea. We've tried diplomacy. We've tried sanctions. They've responded with threats and cyber warfare. We need to demonstrate resolve without igniting a war. This might be our last, best option before we consider something far more drastic. She turns to General Henderson, her face grim but resolute. President Ellis, prepare the operation. I want a full breakdown of every contingency, every potential scenario, and keep it strictly need to know, no leaks. This could either pull them back from the brink or push them over. Anna Reed, OS. You haven't signed it yet. Anna stands in the doorway holding 2 mugs of tea. She walks in and sets one down. President Ellis. If I authorize this, Anna, we are crossing a line we've spent 70 years drawing. We aren't just reacting to a test anymore. We're reaching into their sovereign territory and breaking their toys. Anna Reed. They reached into our banks first. They reached into the homes of every South Korean with those broadcast threats. Kim isn't drawing lines. He's erasing them. President Ellis. Henderson says it's a message. But what if the message they hear isn't stop, but strike now before you lose the chance? She opens the folder. The first page is a map of the North Korean launch site, riddled with red targeting overlays. President Ellis. History remembers the presidents who started wars. It rarely remembers the ones who stayed up all night trying to prevent them. Anna Reed. They'll remember the one who kept the lights on. Ellis picks up a pen. Her hand hovers over the signature line. The weight of millions of lives is condensed into a single drop of ink. She closes her eyes for a second, then firmly signs the document. President Ellis. Tell Henderson. Window opens at 0300. May God help us if we're wrong. Ava Sharma. We're inside their internal relay. Have they noticed the handshake? Analyst 1. Negative. We're ghosting their diagnostic pings. To their technicians in the bunker, the missile systems look 100% green. On screen, a digital blueprint of a North Korean Hwasong-18 ICBM glows. A small red cursor hovers over the Inertial Guidance Unit. Ava Sharma. Deploy the siren package. Now. The analyst hits a final key. A progress bar creeps forward. Uploading. 88%. 94%. Complete. Ava Sharma continued, into her headset. General Henderson, the ghost is in the machine. We have soft control of the guidance logic. If they push that launch button, the bird thinks the North Pole is south. General Henderson. Copy that, Commander. We are visual on the pad. They're fueling. They have no idea they're about to fire a billion-dollar paperweight. Ambassador Chen, leaning in. And if they realize we did it? General Henderson. That's the beauty of a ghost, Mr. Ambassador. If we do this right, they'll think it was a manufacturing defect. They'll execute their own engineers before they blame us. The room holds its collective breath as the countdown on the satellite feed reaches the final minute. The Earth trembles. A massive cloud of white steam and orange flame erupts from the base of the ICBM. The missile clears the tower, rising slowly at first, then accelerating into the gray morning sky. The room is silent. Every eye is fixed on the jagged white line representing the missile's trajectory on the global map. General Henderson. We have ignition. Tracking is nominal. President Ellis, tight-lipped. Now, Ava, do it. Ava Sharma watches the altitude readings climb. 30,000 feet. 50,000 feet. Ava Sharma. Engaging siren. Executing logic flip in 3, 2, 1. Mark! On her screen, a series of red command lines overwrite the missile's flight path. High above the Pacific, the missile's secondary thrusters fire prematurely. Analyst 1. It's working! The guidance system is overcorrecting. It thinks it's 180 degrees off course. The missile begins to wobble. Instead of arching toward its target in the sea, it spirals wildly, its trajectory collapsing. A massive explosion follows. Not a nuclear one, but the self-destruction of the rocket motors. A shower of burning debris falls harmlessly into the empty ocean. A collective exhale fills the room, but President Ellis doesn't smile. President Ellis, General, what's the word from Pyongyang? General Henderson, checking a flash report. Radio silence. Then, total chaos. Their state media just went off the air. Ambassador Chen, they know it failed. The question is, do they know why? President Ellis, they'll be looking for someone to blame. If Kim thinks this was an internal failure, he purges his staff. If he suspects us, we've just started the war we were trying to avoid. A heavy mist clings to the ground at the joint security area. For the first time in months, the heavy artillery is silent. President Ellis stands near the borderline, her face a mask of exhausted resolve. Across from her, a high-ranking North Korean general, acting as an envoy, stands stiffly. No words are exchanged, but a sealed diplomatic pouch is handed over. President Ellis sits at her desk. The "Eternal Confrontation" headline from weeks ago is buried under a pile of new reports. She looks at a framed photo of herself and President Park of South Korea. President Ellis, we didn't win a war. We bought time. In this business, sometimes time is the most expensive thing you can buy. Anna Reid enters, placing a fresh cup of coffee on the desk. Anna Reid. Pyongyang's official statement just came out. They're blaming a technical glitch caused by imperialist atmospheric interference. It's a face-saving move. They're coming back to the table, Madam President. President Ellis, a ghost of a smile. Atmospheric interference. I like that. It's better than the truth. She looks out at the rose garden. The world is still spinning, still dangerous, but the immediate shadow of a nuclear winter has receded. Keep the channels open, Anna, and tell Ava Sharma she's earned a vacation. But tell her to keep her laptop close. Peace isn't a destination. It's a daily maintenance job. The camera pulls back, showing the White House standing tall against a peaceful twilight. The standoff has ended, not with a bang, but with a whisper of renewed diplomacy.